It's been a hell of a past 24 hours for Denver Nuggets fans. When you talk about what just happened with Nikola Jokic versus the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets versus the Minnesota Timberwolves and that epic two overtime game that we win is probably the game of the year, most people would say. It was electric. It was exciting. It was fun watching Nikola Jokic make history. 61 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. The arguably one of the best triple double performance we've ever seen, even though it came in a loss. And then we saw Anthony Edwards, who, and some nights Anthony Edwards looks like he's playing within the flow of the offense, and some nights it looks like Anthony Edwards is give me the ball, get out the way. I'm going to go out and show I'm the best player on the floor. And I like it when he plays that type of basketball. But once again, the past 24 hours for Nikola Jokic, for Denver Nuggets and their fans and Carmelo Anthony, it's been a hell of a 24 hours for the fan base of the Denver Nuggets. When we talk about, and I know some Denver Nuggets fans may have mixed feelings about Carmelo Anthony, but Carmelo Anthony, what he did for that franchise, he will always be synonymous with being a Denver Nugget. I know it was a rocky situation when he wanted to go from the Denver Nuggets to the New York Knicks, and things kind of like rub people and their fan base the wrong way. But it's been a great 24 hours, and Carmelo Anthony will always be synonymous with being a Denver Nugget first in my eyes, even though he is seen as a New York Knick from a lot of people, in a lot of people's eyes as well. But the Denver Nuggets and Nikola Jokic and Carmelo Anthony, this is a day of celebration. The past 24 hours has also been a day of craziness because, unfortunately, when it comes to Denver Nuggets fans, it comes to Nikola Jokic stands, they tend to go always to the extreme. But at the end of the day, you have to give respect because this was a fan base and this was a player that the analytics crowds hit a home run on, the Denver Nuggets fan base hit a home run on. And before Nikola Jokic got that national coverage, that national recognition, all the Denver Nuggets fans and all the beat writers and the local media were telling people, and the analytics crowd were telling people how great, how phenomenal, how special Nikola Jokic had the potential to be. I don't think anybody thought he was going to become the best player in the world type potential, but that's what we have right now with Nikola Jokic, and he's been dominating. And watching him play, it's so beautiful to watch because he's a point center. He's something we've never seen in this league before. He is truly one-on-one. The playmaking ability, the scoring ability, his execution when he's passing and making the right reads, his ability to dominate in the post. He's arguably one of the greatest, if not a top three best post player of all time. His footwork is impeccable. And the things he does on the basketball court seems like it's effortless. And sometimes it seems like he's not even trying. But it just goes to show you that skill set versus athleticism. I'm always riding with the guys who are more so purists and more so game is centered around their skill set, because when that athleticism goes, that skill set will help you prevail and help you reach heights that sometimes athletic players cannot reach, because even though they have the God-given athleticism, sometimes that skill set, when it matters the most in the playoffs in the half court, denies them of overall greatness in comparison to some players. And when we talk about Nikola Jokic, when we talk about everything that he's done for the Denver Nuggets and that franchise, he's going to go down as a first ballot Hall of Famer, of course. He's going to go down as arguably the greatest Denver Nugget to ever play the game, even though some people will say, even though Nikola Jokic is great and phenomenal, Carmelo Anthony, his impact deserves some credit as well. And it wouldn't shock me at all if the Denver Nuggets retire not only Nikola Jokic's 15 jersey, but hopefully Carmelo Anthony's 15 jersey as well, because without Carmelo Anthony, it's no, like, he put the franchise on the map. When we talk about Carmelo Anthony, he took a Denver Nuggets team as a rookie in his first year to the playoffs and never missed a playoff in his tenure with the Denver Nuggets, never missed a playoffs while he had a Denver Nuggets jersey on. We're talking about Carmelo Anthony got to the Western Conference Finals in a brutal West, kind of like the West we're seeing right now for his parity in the league and how tight, how close it is from 2-7 right now in the Western Conference. That's what it was on a regular when Carmelo Anthony was battling, going to war in the Western Conference, in particular with Kobe Bean Bryant, who's probably the reason why Carmelo Anthony has never made an NBA Finals before, because it had to do with going up in those wars against Kobe Bryant. But when we talk, and that's probably why he doesn't have a ring, but when we talk about one of the greatest offensive packages this league has ever seen, when we talk about arguably the greatest triple threat scorer in NBA history, that's when we're talking about in Carmelo Anthony. When he got in that triple threat position, he was a jab work, pull up, jump shot, jab work, get the defender off their feet, get into the rim. The epitome of a skilled bully. That's Carmelo Anthony. When we talk about a player who had the size, had the athleticism to attack the rim and finish over the top of defenders, and extremely athletic and dunking, especially in his Denver Nuggets days. And then if you take that away, he still had the skill set to operate on all three levels on the basketball court and dominate with the face-up frontal game, dominate with the back-to-the-basket game, dominate with the triple threat game, dominate for his catch and shoot and the pureness, the most beautiful jump shot I've ever seen probably in the game of basketball is Carmelo Anthony. He was one of the greatest front tail post players and triple threat players in NBA history. That he was an isolation killer. He was a problem. He was a force. His jab work was impeccable. His footwork was impeccable. He was a spot killer. He was something that when we talk about overall offensive package, it's not a lot of guys in the National Basketball Association for the history of the game to have an offensive package like Carmelo Anthony. So we have to give credit when credit is due, and he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and put some respect on his name. People want to talk about like he's not a winner, he took a lot of shots and things of that nature. It's sometimes we have to understand that like personnel matters, team construction matters. All those things matter when you talk about a particular player, why they do not necessarily maximize their overall, let's say, potential overall, have team success. There's a lot of things that goes into factors when we're talking about going out and capturing a championship that has to go right. But he was an NCAA champion with Syracuse, 3-time Olympic gold medal. Like he was really, really phenomenal. 10-time NBA All-Star, 6-time All-NBA team, NBA scoring champion, NBA All-Rookie team. You can make the case he should have been Rookie of the Year even over LeBron James. 10th all-time NBA scores, top 75 team selection as well. He was phenomenal. He was special. Now, when we talk about Nikola Jokic, I talked about a little bit early on in the stream. Nikola Jokic, as great as he is, his fans and his stands go a little bit overboard at times. And what we're seeing right now, everybody's talking about the game. Everybody's talking about the reaction for Shaquille O'Neal when he was asked during the TNT post-game breakdown about prime Nikola Jokic versus prime Shaq. And Shaq said what he said about like he'd be barbecue chicken and things of that nature. Now people are going crazy and talking about Nikola Jokic is better than Shaq. And to be honest, I have a hard time sometimes even having these conversations because it seems like I understand when people talk about different eras. And I understand that the old heads in certain eras, when we talk about the 80s and the 90s, and the game of the style and the play was very, very different in comparison it is to now. But when we start talking about like the 2000s era and the players and how that was the toughest era to score, we talk about how the talent, it was kind of very similar in different aspects. Probably the shooting is better in today's game, but like just for his overall talent for talent, it was very, very similar in my eyes. So when people are talking about Nikola Jokic versus Shaquille O'Neal and saying that Nikola Jokic is better, and I just feel like people get so caught up in the moment and so caught up in the hype that we forget that we're in an era right now that even though Nikola Jokic has 3 MVPs and 1 championship, I can't sit up and say that we're in the Joker era. It's guys that are when healthy that can go band for band, bar for bar, eye level to eye level, when they're healthy, when they're right, when their team is right. And that's people those are some of his peers. We're talking about guys like Joel Embiid. When we talk about guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo, 2-way players. So it's just like when we get to the point where we always go to the extreme and we go start talking about some of these legends, we start talking about Nikola Jokic better than Hakeem, Nikola Jokic better than Shaq. A lot of times it's just like even though Nikola Jokic is one of the most versatile players this league has ever seen, he still only plays one side of the basketball. And people are going to talk about, well, in this era, Shaq deficiencies would be seen just like and highlighted just like Nikola Jokic on the defensive side of the basketball because the game is more fast paced, bigs are more mobile, and it's more space and it's more like you have to be able to defend for as a big man on a perimeter a little bit more. But when we talk about, okay, well, maybe that is true. But when we talk about Shaq being an elite rim protector, when we talk about Shaq deterring opposing players to go to the opposite direction. We talk about Shaq being an impactful defender and having elite defensive season, especially in his 3P with the Los Angeles Lakers. When we talk about all those great things, rim protecting blocks, help side defense, altering players to go to the opposite directions and not want to go and challenge them at the rim. When we talk about his physicality. So his perimeter defense he wasn't a great perimeter defender in his time, and you put him in this era, he would be like Nikola Jokic on the perimeter side. Okay, fine, in space. But what about all the great things that he did defensively back in his era? You tell me that wouldn't translate when we got guys like Rudy Gobert and Giannis Antetokounmpo who are great help side defenders, winning Defensive Player of the Year awards, basically solely off more so their help side and rim protecting. And Shaq was on also all defensive teams as well. So when we talk about and start comparing players and things of that nature, we can't just compare the things that we want to compare that's going to benefit one player. We have to talk about things in totality. So when we talk about Nikola Jokic versus Shaquille O'Neal, it's just like defensive impact matters. Like era and style differences also matter. Physical dominance matters. We saw Shaq win a three-peat. We can't, it's like, it's hard for me to have conversations with people just going to talk about, okay, I always say skill for skill, talent for talent. Yes, if you want to say that Nikola Jokic is more skilled, more talented than Shaquille O'Neal, because I just came out early in the stream and talked about how skill set over athleticism, and when athleticism dips, can you still be productive? Can you still dominate? And can you still help your team in those tight situations, especially in the half court and the playoff setting and things of that nature? But at the same time, playing both sides of the ball will always forever matter. So when we talk about Nikola Jokic, as great as he is, let's not jump to Shaq. Let's not jump to Hakeem. Let's talk about him and his contemporaries, the Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Joel Embiid when healthy, and things of that nature, even Anthony Davis, because even though I think Nikola Jokic is a better basketball player than all those guys, and really when we talk about healthy Joel Embiid and his impact to guard 1 through 5 on the basketball court and still drop 35 points per game. And it's just the only reason why we haven't really seen some of the playoff success that we'd like to see from Joel Embiid is because of injuries. It's like band for band, bar for bar, eye level to eye level. We talk about Nikola Jokic is so much is better than Shaquille O'Neal, but you got his peers that can look him in the eye when they're right, when their team situation is right, when things are going the right way for them, and they play both sides of the basketball. So it doesn't make sense to me. And I've always been a guy that's going to sit up and say, if you're 6'5" and up, you have to play defense. Defense matters because you have the physical tools that most people do not have in the world. So not playing defense or being a horrible defender when you're 6'5", 6'6", and up, and then you're comparing guys to who won more championship, who played more defense, who play both sides of the ball, it gets a little dicey, in my opinion. So that's all. I appreciate greatness, appreciate what's going on and what these guys are bringing to the table. But as great as Nikola Jokic is, as great as Carmelo Anthony is, I hope that both of their 15 numbers can be retired by the Denver Nuggets. And it's a great day to be a Denver Nuggets fan. It's your boy, Mike K. Smith. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on all the social media platforms at AKISS NBA. Remember, faith without works is dead. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not onto your own understanding, and always trust in him, and he will direct your path. I'm gone, man. Peace.